Hello and welcome to my Super Nintendo collection video. Much like the NES, the Super Nintendo is not a console I've really played much of the on authentic hardware. That doesn't mean I don't like it. I actually quite like the Super Nintendo. It's one of the best consoles ever made in a lot of ways, in objective ways, and also as well as subjective ways. It still has a lot of creativity. The art design, I feel like, is just so sharp in a lot of games. You can see these classic developers finally be able to stretch their little legs a little bit when it comes to, making more complicated, more detailed games. People love the RPGs on the system. I don't really care about the RPGs on the system, but I don't know. There's so much creative stuff on there, so much genre-defining stuff. Super Metroid, Mario World, Donkey Kong Country, again, Chrono Trigger, the RPGs. Just so much great stuff. It's a wonderful system. But there's not really much reason to play an authentic Super Nintendo today, because a lot of these games have been kept alive through re-releases. Along with the NES, it's probably the most re-released to Nintendo's system ever in terms of game library. Which, it's cool that these games are accessible, but it kind of devalues the experience of hooking up the old CRT TV and give them a try. But over the years, I've actually acquired quite a few Super Nintendo games. So let's take a look at them. Let's start with the ones that I only have the carts for. A lot of these are classics. These are like kind of the core Super Nintendo games because they were common, because they were great, and they were iconic, We love them. But Super Mario Kart, a lot of this game is the first Mario Kart game, of course. It's not exactly super fun to play nowadays. It just has that problem a lot of 2D racers have where it's just not a very dynamic experience. And this game in particular just has kind of like, the item system was innovative and cool for the time, but it is very broken in terms of like the way that the enemy drivers get exclusive items and the rubber banding. But, if you actually played this game, Super Mario Kart with a buddy, it's one of the better multiplayer games in the system, and it doesn't really matter, that there are other better Mario Kart games. It's just kind of a game to put on and play with like a friend or something. It's a friendly creation, and it's an earnest creation as well. It came from a nice place, and a lot of development it took to get to this idea, and I don't know, it's a classic. Next, you have Donkey Kong Country. This is a game I can vouch for, not just as a historic relic, but as a genuinely fantastic 2D platformer. Of course, the CGI visuals are iconic for their pre-rendered coolness. The charm of Donkey Kong Country is pretty much unmatched in this way. The game was mind-blowing visually for the time, but I'd also say the atmosphere is what really carries it to the modern day. The darkness of everything, as well as just the fantastic music, the great pacing of the levels, the sound design, it's all just amazing. Donkey Kong Country is one of my favorite games of all time. I've actually beaten it on the Super Nintendo, the authentic cart, because it's just the kind of game that it feels like deserves that kind of experience. It's just such a classic. Like, I don't know. There's something pure about it. The way that the settings are so, like, maybe basic, but also, like, pure. It's like, it feels very focused. Donkey Kong Country is a masterpiece. Pinball. Williams Super Pinball. I have the box for this one. I just took it out because there's some games where it's like, I've got the box, but it's like, it's not really a collector's thing. It's just kind of a game to own. Pinball. It's okay. I tried it. These tables they're fine. It's a pinball game for an older system. There's not really a ton you can do. It's not really in that 8-bit era where they're charmingly basic and the physics are kind of unique. It's just kind of poor. Yeah. Blah. Made by Technos, though, which is interesting because I really don't know of many games that they've made besides Tecmo Bowl. Another game in the boxed category, Road Riot 4WD, is kind of a pretty generic racing game. Not much to it. It really makes you appreciate Mario Kart. There's some interesting images in between their laps, but yeah, nothing crazy. THQ, though, interesting. An early creation from them. Might as well just keep getting these out of the way. I guess I'm actually missing a game. But I guess I'll talk about it. It's an obvious one. Dig and Spike Volleyball. Yeah, I didn't play this. It looks like a crappy volleyball game. I don't know. Hudson Soft, that's wonderful. Yeah, this game is in pristine condition, though, because it was kept in the box for so long. So those are all my games that are just carts, or I guess most of them, only 2 of them had carts. I'm missing Super Mario World. It's upstairs because my little brother, just like the NES, he really got into retro games and wanted a Super Nintendo. So, I was playing Super Mario World, and, I let him borrow it, and also I played up there with him sometimes. Um, it's a game I've honestly kind of been all over the place with. And when I was like, playing all the Mario games, I really didn't like it for the first time. I really didn't like it because it felt kind of like off in a way that it's hard to explain. The game style just kind of felt very, not bland, but like restrained. A lot of early Super Nintendo games, I feel like, by Nintendo are a bit ugly. It feels like they don't really take full advantage of the hardware. They don't really know how to do that. Like, I think Link to the Past is like a hideous looking game. Just the colors, the graphical style of everything. It just doesn't, it's like, it doesn't have the charm of the 8-bit, with like the simplified graphics and like, things not really coming together. But it also doesn't have like the kind of high fidelity sharpness that a lot of the third parties were offering. And I do grow to love the aesthetics of Super Mario World. And the game itself, I felt like it didn't have too much to offer. There's so many Mario games that take, very similar approaches to things, the new Super Mario Bros. Series. Even Mario 3 is pretty similar in a lot of ways. But actually playing Mario World on the console made me realize, like, it put me into the shoes of someone who's playing this game on Christmas Day. It has 2 controllers. You can play with, like, your little sibling and everything. And I don't know, it just kind of made the game click for me. Like, I'm like, this really is an important creation. It kind of took me a while to get there, but I do think Super Mario World is a classic. And yeah, I enjoyed playing it on the hardware, and um, I think they kind of cherished its existence. So now we're going to get into these boxed games. So if I don't care about the Super Nintendo, why do I have so many boxed games? And I guess also, I'm not 40 years old, so I wasn't around like 2006 at flea markets. But the reason is because of the best video game lot or deal, I think, or yard sale in history, where this person had a ton of boxed and sealed games, very eclectic variety. As you can see, a lot of Super Nintendo stuff. Zelda for NES in the box, sealed with a gash in it, so it's kind of sealed. Skyward Sword, Twilight Princess, the box for Wind Waker, and they were $2 a piece. Now I bought this like literal minutes before leaving for PAX East. It was near the train station, and I just felt like a dream. Like, I could not believe what I'd found, and it was just the best deal I think ever. Like, I don't know, like, if it'll ever be topped, but that's where I got most of these games. ActRaiser 2 is also part of that, but I sold that game a while ago because I needed the money. But yeah, that game's like $100. It's like crazy. Like, it was such a rush, And Super R-Type. This game has a lot of problems. The slowdown is kind of infamous. A lot of Super Nintendo games, the clock speed was lower than the Genesis, of course. Blast processing, as you know. But that really only came into full effect with stuff like shoot-em-ups like this. But, so it's like, not really a lot of reasons to play Super R-Type, especially when R-Type 3 is apparently a lot better. But this illustration is just so awesome, This game also, I believe, comes with a poster. ActRaiser 2 definitely did. And it's just so cool. Like, it just feels like a deluxe experience, even if the box is just made of cardboard. Another game that is kind of unfortunate is Captain America and the Avengers. This is a game where the Genesis version is apparently a lot better. But hey, this one, it has beautiful art, comes with a comic book, and, it's good as a collector's item. I do like having this. It's just, I don't know. I don't even like the Avengers or Marvel that much. I just think it's a cool, unique thing to have. I do like it. The next 2 games, we have Super Star Wars. This was probably a lot of people say this is the first good adaptation of Star Wars into video games. There's the Atari one, there's the arcade game, and those were fine, but this adapts all of New Hope. It's infamous for being extremely difficult, the whole series, the whole Super Star Wars series. But the games are classic, run and gun kind of affairs that are a lot of fun. And yeah, it's cool to have this. I feel so lame when I don't have something to say because these box games I haven't intimately played because, them being boxes, them being in such nice condition, like, I didn't want to, like, really use them because it's like, you know, should I even do that? You know, it sounds weird. Maybe it's something I can get into more into later. I'm just going to save the best for last, but we also have Super Empire Strikes Back. Pretty cool art here with a lot of stuff from the movie. Pretty different from the poster, while the other one was just kind of like basically a rip from the New Hope poster. But yeah, we've got a lot of stuff going on here. The next Super Star Wars game. Apparently this one's a little easier. I'm not really sure by too much. I know the Darth Vader fight's like impossible or something, but yeah, just another solid game. Then we have, again, another game that is really here as part of a collection. Part of the collection, not as much as like a game I play, but Street Fighter 2, the original release. You know, they've made a million versions, but having the original here with this original art with Blanca and Chun-Li and Ken, oh my god, I said Ken, Ryu. There's something awesome just about having it here and just looking at it. Like, this is Street Fighter 2, this is the phenomenon, you know? This is the pure vanilla original version. It's not perfect, but it's just cool to have, and that's what makes it a good collectible. Even if, like, you know, much rather, I don't even like fighting games that much, and even if I did like Street Fighter 2, I'd probably much rather play the other versions. But just having this here, like, I don't know, there's something beautiful about it. And the final Super Nintendo game is The Adventures of Dr. Franken. This was the weirdest one out of all the ones that I got in that lot, because I'm like, what the hell is this game? There's actually a game on Game Boy called just Dr. Franken, or Franken, and it's vaguely related. I mean, Franken is in the title. It's made by the same people. But this is like a weird Castlevania clone where you have to find pieces of like this lost ticket, this plane ticket. I just love how strange it is. This art is just so weird and like, but also like appealing. Like, I kind of love it. It's like a cartoon that, it's based on a cartoon that doesn't exist. And the game is very janky. It's not the most fun. I have tried it because it's like, this game is just so cool and awesome. But yeah, this is really another thing that I just own it's like a collector's item. But I love it. I love this thing so much. It's so weird. I just love gazing at it. Just love thinking about it. Like that weird tree in the back. Like he's legit. And that's all of the games I have boxed, and all my Super Nintendo games. I went through a lot of those pretty quickly because I don't have too much played experience for a lot of them. The Super Nintendo really is a console I appreciate as a collector more than so, like, you know, and playing the games is kind of a different world, a different affair. I will say one Super Nintendo game I do want to own physically is Plok. I have played Plok. I've actually beaten Plok. It's a very difficult game. It is so imaginative, so colorful. The music is fantastic, as everybody knows. But the actual game has such a beautiful, sunshiny spirit. The mechanics are so awesome and unique. It's a classic, and I feel like I do need to own it. It's kind of like how I said I'd love to own Castlevania for NES. Just owning like a game that I feel like is just so unique to its era in a way. You know, mascot platformers are very evocative of like the 16-bit generation, but also so creative and still good to this day. Still really fun, even though the game's bleeding hard. But yeah, actually, you know, I don't know. It's just like I like the idea of owning my favorite game for each platform, even if it is like a common game or a rare game. You know, just having like this nice pantheon. Like, these are the best of the best. And Plok, I think, is my favorite Super Nintendo game, or the one that I feel like I uniquely like, because there's games everyone likes. Everyone likes Super Metroid. You know, everyone likes Mario. Everyone likes Mega Man X. But Plok, that is a game that I feel like I might be one of the biggest fans of. But yeah, that's all there is for Super Nintendo. Next time we'll do Nintendo 64. Let's keep the train rolling. I've been liking just talking about these videos, talking about these games. I'm going crazy. Bye-bye.